I'm Jessie Robertson from the University of Alaska Fairbanks, and this is Alaska Voices, a place for communities to connect through conversation in order to build a better tomorrow for Alaskans and the world.
Originally, I grew up in Gakona, Alaska,
Tyonek,
Egypt,
Idaho,
Rampart,
St. Lawrence Island,
St. Paul.
and I'm here with my student,
my science buddy,
my teacher,
my homie.
I'm his daughter.
My name is Jessie Robertson. I'm 39 years old, and I'm talking to Kristen, and she's a student in my class.
My name is Kristen Gagne. I am 24 years old, and I am talking to Jessie, my professor.
So I just wanted to start with, what are you doing here at UAF?
So I'm here at UAF doing my PhD in environmental chemistry. I do a lot of field work, and I'm glad that I'm not out there today because it's a little cold today.
So you do it in the winter too?
I do it in the winter, and everybody's like, you go on frozen lakes in the winter? I'm like, yeah, I got frostbite once because I was on a frozen lake in the wintertime, and it was minus 20. So I came up here kind of not knowing what I was getting myself into, and it's been interesting, very interesting.
Like in what way? Like if you're going to paint a picture in pretty simple terms?
The normal way to figure out if there's permafrost underneath water is really expensive, and so we're trying to figure out if there's a tracer to the permafrost, how does that influence the organic matter in the surface water, which feeds the microbes that we see and stuff like that.
Is the work as exciting as you thought it would be?
The hydrology of the area is definitely way more interesting than we were anticipating, and so what we thought was going to be straightforward actually isn't, and I guess that's the definition of science. It's not going to be easy.
Grad school is sort of an interesting time. It's not always what people thought it would be or expected it would be, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on that.
Before, when I came in, I was very like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. Now it's more like I'm getting more comfortable with change. Not fully there yet. I don't like when all of a sudden, oh, you have to do this instead. I'm like, oh, but I was doing this. So it's allowing me to grow in who I am and definitely allowing me to become less anxious and more ready for change than I used to be. A lot of people who I came in with are like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing. And I'm like, I don't know if that's what you're saying, or whether that's actually how you feel. Because I feel like I'm trudging through the snow trying to figure out what I'm doing and like how to make it all work.
So what has science been like for you?
It's been good that I've had all these opportunities. People do come to me for like, oh, you should go do this, you should do that, or what about this? But I'm having trouble with people coming to me and saying, oh, help me, help my grad student, help my undergrad. And I started asking other grad students if they ever felt this way. And one who has graduated, she's like, oh yeah, you just took my spot. And I was like, thanks for warning me. I'm now learning to say no because of your class. And so I've started saying no to some things, and it's definitely lessened my plate. But I can tell that people really rely on me, and I'm like, you shouldn't be relying on me. I have other things I need to do.
I'm curious if there's anything that's come out of the class that you're surprised by.
I like to see the advisor's point of view. When you're talking about being a hands-off advisor, I was having trouble having a hands-off advisor. And when you talked about how and why you are hands-off, I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense. Okay, this is a learning experience. They know I can do it. That's why they're hands-off. So I definitely think that was a surprise that I wasn't expecting, and it was a good surprise. Another thing that I also found surprising when we were talking about priorities and boundaries and how I'm constantly working and other grad students aren't, and it bothers me that they're not working, but yet I feel like I can't not work. I was having trouble figuring out what my priorities were, and I guess my priority is 5 years. And so now when I'm like overworking and I feel like very bogged down in work, I'm like, 5 years. That's all. 5 years. And then I feel better.
So much of the job is about managing failure. And the more positive side of people's brains would say, oh, no, or these are learning opportunities or whatever. But at some point, it's actually just failure. So I had one summer that by the end of the summer, I was like, that's it. I quit. I'm quitting science forever. This can like lay down and die, which is that summer I got a couple of small grants. One was to work in Grand Teton National Park, and one was to got a travel grant to come to Alaska. And they sent me all the way to Kantishna because they're like, oh, there's permafrost in there. You can go in there and work. And you dig about 25 centimeters down, and all it is rocks. While we were at Kantishna, I was there with a couple folks. Our bear spray exploded. We all got maced. All of our stuff got covered in the capsaicin oil. It was awful. This is the first time I had to like really bark out orders to people. I was like, we're getting back on the bus and we're going to leave the park and we're going to finish this project and we're going to get the hell out of here. And on the drive out, I had like some bodily meltdown. I felt like I was having, I don't know what, I thought I was having a stroke or something. Like I couldn't move my hands, I couldn't move my feet. The sensation was moving on my arms. So they called an ambulance. And so I left the park in an ambulance. And then I spent the night sleeping on the floor of somebody's office. But I had science brain, which was just like, we got to keep going, we got to keep going. But what I realized is I was exhausted. Like I hadn't slept much in 6 weeks. I'd had a disastrous trip to the Tetons to collect samples, which I think is why I finally had a meltdown. I'm curious, in your graduate work, any failures that have happened, how did you manage it? How did you feel about it?
Well, I'm terrible with failure. I've had a few setbacks, and it gets me really upset to where I don't want to work. But then give me a few days to recharge, and then I'm like, okay, well, now I'm going to go try this, and I get super excited about something.
So I came out of undergrad like a pretty confident person. Like I was a class valedictorian, I'd worked 3 jobs, and then I went into grad school, and I don't think I handled the fluidity of it as well as it sounds like you're handling it. But the failures, you know what it felt like? Is like, you know when you're walking across crusty snow and you post hole? And you're like, ah, shit. And you're like up to your thigh. You're like, God damn it. So then you're trying to push yourself out and you kind of like walk tentatively and then you post hole again. And that's really what it started to feel like. And so part of the impetus for putting this class together was like, I guess I wanted people to know like you have a choice, even when it feels like you don't. And if people want to choose to give it all, everything to their career, that's great. But some people don't feel like there's a choice, and there is. And people think that you have to lay it all down at the altar to be successful, and I just don't think so. With the class too, I know that we've shared a lot of experiences that appear to be negative in some ways, but in other ways, I hope that we can also show like the resilience of people, no matter what you choose. And resilience can mean moving into a different profession. Resilience can mean refocusing on your profession. Resilience can mean building community. It can mean a lot of things.
And although we talk about a lot of negative things, it also makes you know you're not alone.
Yeah. Well, thank you for talking.
Thank you.
Alaska Voices builds bridges by creating a space where community members, friends, policymakers, and scientists can share stories and place-based knowledge. This project was developed in partnership with StoryCorps and was funded by the Alaska Climate Adaptation Science Center. Additional funding was provided by the University of Alaska Fairbanks Chancellor through a generous gift from the Bentley Family Trust to the University of Alaska Fairbanks. Alaska Voices would not be possible without the help and efforts of an amazing group of people. Our producer and audio engineer is Kelsey Skonberg of Mossy Stone Media. Our podcast and outreach specialist is Mike DeLue, and our website designer is Carolyn Rosner. If you are interested in more conversations or information, please visit our website at alaskavoices.org.